Good afternoon. I bid to all. We introduce myself, Muhammad Azlan bin Muhammad Rozi with registration number 01BMS19F3021. My supervisor's name Dr. Rosmawati Makihin and my mentor is Mr. Muhammad Hafizan bin Muhammad Yusri. I've been done my WBL at WSA Venture. This is my title for final year project, Aviation Armrest Cutting by using CNC cutter automatic knife cutting system. Next, these are the content for my presentation for today. Background, first background of study, problem statement, third objective, and then the fourth scope, the fifth methodology, sixth result and discussion, and lastly is conclusion. For background study, a car consists of many parts of assembly, which is a body, engine, and interior. We talk about for the interior part, which is a door trim, which is the one of the important things been assembled in a car. So at WSA, we produce Jeep Wranglers for Sahara, and we produce from scratch, from substrate until the wrapping and packaging. The limited PVC vinyl cardstock using traditional method, and NC cutter for automatic PVC vinyl cardstock protection. Second, for problem statement, lot of waste material when use a die cut method. The second, time taken to produce the part of vinyl took a long time, which is we need to manual cut the slab and the die cut process. The third is workforce is high due to manual production, which is currently 3%. And lastly is new machine. There is no working standard for this new machine. For objective is to identify problems related to the current armrest cutting process. Second, to develop standard operating procedure and working standard for this machine NC cutter. To evaluate the NC cutter towards performance, towards production and economic improvement. So for the scope, which is the first is only for Sahara front upper set, and the second is for a roll of vinyl material. Next, we go for methodology. So these are the workflow process, which is start JS Sahara front armrest nesting design, and then we go for cutting process, which is the simulation, and if the product result obtained according to the spec of quality, so it will be finished. For JL armrest nesting design, the software we use is Imulcut, which is the default software came from with the machine. So we need, first of all, we need to import a single pattern of drawing, which is a DSF format only, no other format, and then we line up the pattern in a single row, and then we set the width of material and the length for the space that we will utilize. Usually the space, the roll, the size of roll, and we will auto range and optimize the space consumption, and then we need to save the drawing in cut format to able to cut machine to cut it. For the space material space utilization, which is we call it the percent of yield, the highest the number, the greater the space consumption, which is if the higher the number, which is the consume of the space is better, so it will be less waste, which is we can say the utility, which is the highlighted box. We can see 77.61. This is only for the designing. Next, we go for the cutting process, which is we need to load the safe drawing, the cut file, into ImuCut server that linked to a cutting system, and then we place the material into cutting table, and we start the homing machine. We start the origin of cutting and then start the cutting process. The green one pictures is the machine that has been cut the pattern. So after that, we measure the actual cutting material, which is the size and the quantity of the pattern has been cut. For the measurement and quality standard, we use JI, job instruction, and master limit sample to measure the size of the cut stock, and if the cut stock meet the size and appearance, so we just accept the cut stock. For SOP developing and working standard, which is we need to start develop the SOP. We plan the process for developing and managing SOP information. We collect information and content, and then we write and review with engineer. So for the result and discussion is like this. So to identify the current cutting process problem, these are the problems occur, which is the rejection, from a supplier rejection, two from the machine. We can adjust the parameter and the setting, and the one defect is from human error, which is material setting. They need to load the material very nicely to elakkan this thing from happening. For SOP developing, these are the approved SOP which has been signed by the engineers and by the HOD. For the maximum cutting layer, we simulate 8 layer, 10 layer, 12 layer and 15 layer. So we produce and we count the reject, so we know the rejection rate for each layer. So the lowest rejection rate is on 12 layer, and we suggest to production site, so they approve that the maximum layer can we go up for 15 layers, and the best cutting layer is 12 for them. So these are the impact toward production rate. So the cut stock has been produced at the same quantity. The space utilization of vinyl slab and NC cutter is higher than the die cut. The cut stock quantity produced is same for both method, and the cycle time for die cut is faster than NC cutter, almost 2.5 minutes, but both method able to achieve that time, so there's no worry for us to not able to complete the customer demand. So toward economics, these are the ECN. So the price has been reduced. The project can save up like 11.56 cost of production a piece of cut stock, and we obtain from ECN as we obtain from the calculation from business development department using a confidential formula. So for the conclusion, this project is transition between manual cut, which is die cut, and towards automatic knife system NC cutter. This project is successful, which if we can consider it fulfill the objective. We know that this NC cutter will be benefit to company majorly from a reduction of cost production of a piece of cut stock. That's all from me. Thank you.